Hey, we're back, folks, with episode 3 of this session, as we discover the secrets of science and how everything stems from a certain framework of knowledge that only Dr. Loom understands. But welcome back, everybody. We are currently at the Doyle's residence. We are in the children's room right now. We're combining evidence to see what our next step should be. So, what shall you do?
Dr. Loom will express his theory of this Johnson being our culprit in an attempt to protect Caroline. He's done something with the children, especially if they had a proclivity for sneaking out at night. Carolyn's probably mentioned that to him. He has means, motive, and opportunity, I believe.
Okay. All right.
Well, there's plenty of means and opportunity for plenty of people if these children are wandering off to Whitechapel.
Mm.
All right. What do you think,
Put it
Doyle?
in the lead.
Dove, what do you think about that theory based on our conversation with Caroline?
It is my assumption that these children are going to get in nothing but trouble. I do believe that it was them who walked out of the trellis. I do believe that they are the ones headed to Whitechapel, and I do believe we're about ready to find some child corpses at this rate.
I tend to agree that the we really don't know much about what's his name again, Jonathan. So maybe we should get Caroline to give us his address and some contact information for him.
I believe
discretion.
I believe you are the one who are going to be most successful with that.
Yes, I'm happy to do that.
With the Dawnflower, I could talk reason to her.
Oh no, please.
No.
and Miranda says
Dawnflower.
exactly that. No, please.
It's like unanimously just no.
Mhm.
Just a little chorus happening here.
Fine.
Oh my
Take
God.
longer.
Miranda is definitely wants to talk to Caroline more now that we've found these letters. And I'm sure Caroline would like the letters back as well.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, it's not like we're going to get much out of them other than entertainment, so.
Well, I mean, you're essentially freeing her from the blackmail
yeah.
Yeah.
if the letters are back in her possession.
Yeah. Be a good thing to do.
Yeah, so I would like to go find her, even though, yes, we just left her, but I want to go find her and get some more information about him and return the letters to her.
Okay. All right. And what are the rest of you going to do?
What else is there to do?
Choices.
Good choices.
I'm basically going to just walk outside. I mean, we've pretty much discovered what we can at this point here. Dove will be itching to get out of this house. As much as he complains and is fearful of what happens at Whitechapel, he'd rather be there. He's more comfortable there.
Okay. All right.
Knows
What's
how to handle
the...
himself there.
So where, if you were to go to Whitechapel, what area would you want to go to first?
Well, in light of the fact that we saw that pamphlet for the theater, I would probably check out that area first.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see here.
Because I have a funny feeling that Mr. and Mrs. Doyle probably would not be traipsing around out there. I'm guessing the kids are probably interested, whether in that place specifically or something in that area.
Okay. All right.
Maybe
And
they
that's
were
actually, if we would have seen and been shown that playbill by Joyo or someone else in the room now, that may be something that I would also ask Caroline about.
Okay.
Is this something that the children have been taken to see by the other staff or with their parents, or is this something that they may be doing on their own?
Right. Okay. All right. Could do that. Does anybody else want to go with Miss Russell, or is she going to do this solo?
Dove is not looking to freak her out again.
And you're going to be heading outside. Is everybody else going to join Dove, or are they finished with the room? Is there any other?
I think
questions for you?
room.
Okay.
Got all the really glean from it, so.
Right, you've got the cigar box. You've got.
Well, I could take the cigar box with me.
Totally up to you. Totally up to you. So, so you have that. I would assume you leave the shoes, or at least you know the shoes are
Leave
there.
the shoes.
It's up to you. Okay.
I'll put them back. I'll put them back in their spot and close it up.
All right. So they slip back into the grating and put the grating
I'll
back.
actually not take the whole cigar box, but I will take one of those match boxes with the $10 symbol.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. Right. Okay. All right, then let's, so you guys are heading outside. Miss Russell, as you guys hit the stairs, Miss Russell, you go one way and then the others go the other to talk or find Miss Caroline. And not too difficult. She is in the kitchen at this point, so
Okay.
you're good to go.
All right. I want to approach her very cautiously. Not cautiously, but unintimidatingly, unlike Dove.
No, waving a weapon, right?
Yeah, exactly. Quietly,
Shadows.
Caroline, are you feeling better now?
And so she's actually helping tidy up the kitchen, putting away some plates, that sort of thing. Actually,
Okay.
recognized the tray that was in the den earlier. She's sorting that out right now too.
Okay.
She looks over her shoulder and she nods and she says, "I've had a chance to calm my nerves. Yes."
She's the only one in the room?
Edna is still over at the stew pot, and she kind of
Okay.
she glances. "Oh, I made her a bit of tea, did I? It made her feel right better."
So was it hypothetical tea?
No, it was actual tea.
Exactly. Okay,
Yes,
so
actual tea.
Caroline, there's something that I need to speak to you about. Could you step out into the hall with me for just a moment?
And so she finishes folding up a napkin and puts it on the tray, and she stands and straightens her blouse and everything and her skirts and follows you out.
Now, I want to go either maybe a servant staircase or somewhere where we can step into that we're not right in the hallway. There's a little bit of privacy.
Right. Let's see here. She leads you to the south of the map and takes you here.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. So once we're there, if there's a door, I want to close it.
Yep, you got a door to the north and the south.
Okay,
So you can close
perfect.
that.
So I'm going to close those doors just to ensure that it's private, and then speaking very quietly because I don't want any overhearing servants.
Mhm.
What do we call each other? My friends upstairs were searching the children's room, and I believe we found something that may belong to you. I pull out the stack of letters.
She's like, her eyes go wide, and she almost lunges for them, but then she, observes decorum, and she stops, and she's, are those my letters?
Yes, I believe you are, and in my head thinking if you are Dawn Star, or whatever she was, but she didn't say that. Morning Star, whatever. So Miss Russell is still holding them kind of stacked in her hands and not ready to let them go yet. So we did not know what these were, so of course we had to, open several to determine whose correspondence that they actually belong to. So I have to let you know that we did read a small portion of them, not very much, so I hope you won't mind. But can you tell me a bit more about Jonathan, his last name, maybe
her
his...
eyes go wide, and she said, because if you recall, she didn't give you that name, so
Yes.
She kind of withers a little bit, or wilts, before your gaze, and her cheeks flush red with embarrassment.
We understand that you would much prefer this relationship to be kept quiet, and I'm still willing to do that, but given the situation and given the fact that we found these letters in the children's room, we would like to have a conversation with Jonathan as well. I promise to do it with the utmost discretion. I'm just concerned that, possibly he may have some information that may be of use to us.
Oh, you mustn't trouble him. I'll answer whatever questions you have, please. You mustn't trouble him. It is his place of business. It's inappropriate. He doesn't know any more than I do.
I'm sure that I could find a way to speak with him that would not interrupt his place of business or his home life, whoever he may share living arrangements with. Is there a time or place that you generally meet him? Perhaps I could meet him in a park somewhere where you would normally see him.
I don't know. Why? And she's looking down at the letters and looking up at you, and you actually get a sense that she's I don't want to say growing a spine, but she's kind of getting a little incensed.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to kind of delve into that, you most certainly can. But she's I don't see how that's necessary. I would very much like to have my letters back, please.
Well, the children are still missing. These letters were found in their rooms. I'm sure that the children have read these letters, unfortunately, so they have some familiarity with this Jonathan. You said that they've seen you together, so they would know who he is. I assume that he would also know who they are. So there's a connection there that we need to look into.
What are you implying? You're implying that my beloved would do something like this to make them disappear? Is that what you're saying?
Actually, no, I don't think that he would, but he may have some information where they may be found. He's seen them before. He knows what they look like. Maybe he has. Maybe they've contacted him and tried to blackmail him in the same way they've done with you.
Oh no! And she kind of presses her hands against her midsection and straightens her back and takes a deep breath, and she says, "If I put you in contact with him, you will give me those letters."
Yes, of course. And I promise to use the utmost discretion.
Very well. There was a cafe that he lunches at. His work is on Fleet Street. He's a journalist, so you mustn't invade his place of business. But there's a small pub that he frequents near his place of business. It's called the Old Wessex. He's usually there between 11:30 and 12:30, and then sometimes for afternoon tea. But please, your discretion, I beg of it. I assure you, though, he is not involved with this. He would never do anything. But
I'm sure he's not involved in that way. I suspect I have no ill wishes for him, but yes, I'm concerned that, again, the children may have contacted him or harassed him in some way, as they are doing with you.
He's a very perceptive man. He may know something, yes, I suppose.
Wonderful. Thank you, Caroline. And
she looks down at the letters, yeah.
So I'll hand them over, and then basically what I want from her is his last name and a brief description of what he looks like. And that would be, then I'm content to let her go.
Jonathan Jonathan Sheffield.
Sheffield. Wonderful.
He
It's a lovely name, Caroline.
He's, he is all forms of wonderful. Yes, but yes, he's of moderate height. She kind of like puts her hand like about this high above her own head, so probably putting him at around 5'7", 5'8". And he's got close cropped brown hair. Right, I'm going through and I'm describing it like a cop would. Sorry. He keeps his hair nice and tidy. He favors a tweed jacket, and he always has this. Flower that's in his lapel. It's something that I've grown to be very fond of. And her eye kind of glances back down to the letters again. But it's a blue flower that you'll see. Yes, but please, your discretion, I beg of you. And,
Yes.
And she
I'll
presses the
hand it.
letters like close to her heart, and
Yeah.
as soon as she kind of like thinks for a second, she says, "Do what you can to bring the children back. I know what I've said about them is inappropriate, but they're just children. They don't deserve to have anything wrong happen to them."
We will do our very best to bring them home safely. And then as Miranda will thank her again for all of her help. And as she's walking out the door, as Miranda's walking out the door, just step out and then pop her head back in and say, "Caroline Sheffield has a nice ring to it," and then walk out the door.
Aww.
She immediately just blushes and turns back and.
That's so cute.
Well played. All right,
Gotta get her on our side, you know?
No, that's good. All right, so off you go. So you're off to rejoin the rest of the group.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily want to go, track this guy down like immediately, but I want to have that information, which I will share with everyone as soon as we're all together again. And
Right.
It's late in the evening, right, by now? I mean, so we couldn't.
Yeah, it's
talk to
probably
him till the
like
next
11 or 11:30, something like that.
Okay.
As she comes back, Dr. Loon will just say, "Did you get a name from the harlot?"
God.
I have the information that we need, Dr. Loom.
Oh, good. Took you long enough.
To arch an eyebrow at him and not say anything.
So yeah, harlots and such, right? So let's do this. I'll just start building a notes section here. So I'll bring you guys down here real quick. And so what's the next step?
Well, upon hearing that we've discovered where Jonathan is, Dove would want to talk to Jonathan.
Okay. Oh, puppy.
And there's also the route of investigating Robert and this Kendall's club.
Robert. Okay. What else you got?
I have the pad of paper that Dr. Loon would like to do a little analysis on in his lab.
Okay. Cool. What else? Well, anything that you want to maybe the next step. What would you want to follow up with immediately?
Are we heading to Whitechapel?
I want to be pounding on Jonathan's door, or at the bare minimum at the
The bare minimum.
That's getting kind of grisly.
Yeah.
I know, I'm unbearable.
Make it stop. Oh,
You pick the bear, man. You're going to have to deal with all the bear jokes.
all the bear puns.
At a bare minimum.
I suppose
Just press pause and let's move on. Okay. Let's just move on.
I would even eat that pun.
Mm.
All right. So which one do you want to go to? Do you want to try and hunt down Jonathan there?
I'd rather wait on him till the next day, but I'm not.
Okay.
I don't have the same suspicions of him that everybody else does. I might want to see, poke around in Whitechapel a bit tonight.
Yeah. I guess Dove and Loom could. Dr. Lynn has his pad of paper. Dove is Jonathan. Miss Russell and I could probably head for the 10 Bells.
I would say that if Miranda's going elsewhere, Doyle will follow her.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, wait. The 10 Bells was where?
10 Bells is in Whitechapel.
Is in Whitechapel. Okay.
Yep.
So I mean, we could all head to. It sounds like it's a pretty rough place. So
We're all
Miss
heading in the same
Russell,
direction. So
right? We all want to go together at least. She's not going to be traveling by herself anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So heading off to Whitechapel it is then. Okay. So let's do this. Move this over to this place. Yeah. All right. So, you guys. So, how do you guys want to travel to said place? So, right now you are in Kensington, as it were. And what I could do is do this, since this is actually a real place. And we can map it. Won't be quite as direct as some would think. Bear with me, folks. Right. So, heading over to Whitechapel, London. So at this time of night, you could potentially hire a cab to get down there, a horse-drawn cab, to bring you into the area of Whitechapel. There is, of course, trying to find one that's not going to have too much trouble with a Russian bear man jumping in, but it is possible. It is possible. So you have that. Do you guys have, as part of your characters, do you guys have certain modes of transportation that you guys use, or what's the story there?
I don't have anything particular on mine, but
Yeah, I don't have anything particular either.
Dove's used to walking long distances.
All right. So Whitechapel to Kensington. So let's see here. Get the distance. There's that. And let's find Kensington. As you can see, I was planning for a couple of different things, but maybe not this direct to run. Alright, so according to the scale, you're probably only looking at around 6 to 8 miles. I know I'm using American measures of distance when we're in Britain. We should be using kilometers, sorry.
We're all a bunch of Americans.
There you go. So, yeah. So there you go. Probably, 6 to 8 miles to get there. So if you guys want to walk, or if you want to try and hire a cab, you can definitely do that. But let's kind of move things along, I guess, to get to that particular neighborhood. So you guys are departing the household, and you arise. So this is outside of the Doyle's house, and you're heading down one of the streets, and the direction in which you're going is going to lead you west and south away from the household, but a little bit closer to where you were hearing some of those disturbance. from earlier. So I don't know if do you guys kind of recall a little bit about what was going on from the very first session?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
The glorious mob.
right, exactly. So yeah, so you guys head outside, and in the distance you hear the sound of running feet. So I'll ask you, like, before we move on, is there anything that you guys, any precautions or anything that you guys are taking as you guys are leaving? I just wanted to make sure that, even though it's like many moons ago for us in real life, I wanted to make sure you guys are still aware that situation was going on, so it's not a...
Yeah.
Can we go in a different direction?
I believe the good doctor and I have been seen amongst the crowd already.
That's right, yeah. So is there an alternative direction you want to use, as to Ms. Russell's point? Or
Miranda's first inclination would be to avoid the crowd altogether, and regardless to travel either closely with, as before, with Lieutenant Blackwell, or now with Dove.
Okay. Let's see here. So do you guys want to do that, or do you want to stick together and just try an alternate route? What would you prefer?
We should stick together, try an alternate route.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys take a little bit more of a northerly route to try and avoid
Joyce
some of that.
had on this.
Oh, that's right, that's right. You know what, actually, with you approaching, you may have kind of come the opposite way, but in the distance, you probably would have heard the sound of policemen's whistles and shouts in the distance of like an angry mobbish type tone. But yeah, I think the direction you would have come in from, you wouldn't have actually seen something, but you definitely would have heard it. So yeah, there was some kind of a hullabaloo going on in the south to southwest of where you're at.
Hullabaloo is a good word.
Yeah.
Shenanigans afoot.
Shenanigans!
Yeah, that's right. I call shenanigans. So, all right, so you guys travel into Whitechapel. And by its nature, Whitechapel is, it's not necessarily the scum of the city, but it is definitely more of the area where it's a bit more downtrodden. It's the working class area. There's crime is high here. So as you guys travel upwards, you pass through what is kind of commonly known as the border, the southern border of Whitechapel, which is Commercial Road. You cross through the into a more intensely poor area of the city. St. Giles is part of Whitechapel, and that's where a lot of the tenements and the higher poverty segments are, where they live. But there are some sections of Whitechapel where you have the street hawkers and you have the tents kind of leaned up against the buildings where they sell, whatever wares they can muster to the other denizens of the area. Whereas in Kensington, there wasn't a lot of people out on the street. Here, there's still people out. There's slovenly drunkards. There's a higher population of beastmen that are here, and then also some of the other races that are here. You're probably hard pressed to find an Eldrin, but you will find a mixture of human, beastmen. There's some dwarves, gnomes, that sort of thing. So you will find them there. The majority of the population in this area are Irish immigrants. Some foreigners from Prussia and the German states. There is a Yehudite community that's here. And other persons of interest that would be basically considered stranded in London. They come here finding work, and it's just an effort to try and get back out, but it's just so hard at this point. It's kind of like they're just here now. So yeah, so this is into the area that you descend of Whitechapel. So you guys are heading to which location again first? I want to make sure I got that right. There's the 10 Bells Club, and then there's also the pavilion that's here as well.
Well, Doyle was really interested in finding Jonathan first. So,
That was my intention.
yeah.
Are we in the window of when Jonathan would be at his pub?
Normally it's in like from 11:30 to 12:30 during the day. He lunches there, as being a journalist. But that's actually over on Fleet Street. That's what is that?
We could. I would imagine because he won't be there, and so without it being the right time, we don't know where he is.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say probably, and the theater this time of night would probably be shut down too. So probably the 10 Bells is the best way to go.
Yeah. They would still be active at night.
Okay. All right. So how do you guys want to explore or find out where the 10 Bells? What does that look like?